I'm LazyCrazyJoe. Now you know, let's Pokemon Go. Somewhere in school I was taught to answer the questions who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who is Kalki IV for? Anyone trying to become more efficient at Pokemon Go in regards to raiding, collecting, gym fighting, or even PvPing. What exactly is Kalki IV? It's a free app that only has access to information that you give it. It stores this information and then uses the information that you provide it, along with more information that is available on the internet, but in a faster and more convenient way that is easily digestible, albeit with a semi-steep learning curve. When do I use Kalki IV? When preparing for a raid, PvP event, fighting Team Rocket, or even when fighting in a gym. Where do I get Kalki IV? Kalki IV is available in your phone's Google Play or Apple Store. Why do I use Kalki IV? A general is only as powerful as the information he has available. When going out on a raid, you are in a sense a general, commanding an army of followers to their deaths. Decisions should not be taken lightly. How do I use Kalki IV? That is what this video hopes to show you. This episode is mostly for beginners. If you are wanting to try out Kalki IV for the first time, or you need a refresher on some basic information. Downloading. This is a simple process, no different than downloading Pokemon Go. I assume that if you can play Pokemon Go, you can find this video. You are capable of figuring out how to download an app. Search for the word Kalki. The welcome screen. Top left, you'll notice 3 lines on top of each other provide a pop-out window that gives you access to the majority of the options of Kalki IV. Not simply going to the game, this is likely where you'll be clicking first. In the top middle, you'll notice the name of the screen that you are on. So welcome is always typed next, followed by a gap and a Pokeball. This ball is often on other screens and is one of the ways of swapping to the game immediately. To the right, 3 dots this time. These 3 dots are for the remaining options that the 3 lines do not cover. These are export, import, backup, which is potentially very useful. Reset scan config, a button I have never chose to use, but I assume is self-explanatory. Below this, you'll notice is the What's New section. If you auto-click through the most recent announcements from the app, or simply want clarification, this is where you regain that information. About and policy, the juicy legal stuff, if that's your thing. The meat, or the middle of the page, is a brief introduction on how to use Kalki IV. The Kalki IV button. A single press will initiate a scan. A long press will show the options. You'll notice a skull, swords, and so forth. The skull is for the boss screen, where the information you will use most often will be provided for raids, gyms, and Team Rocket. Cross swords. The move screen. More than just a move screen, this allows you to simulate leveling up Pokemon to what their DPS would look like if you change their moves. Nothing is saved unless you press the apply button. Award ribbon. This is for the appraisal screen. This is a button that has no purpose anymore and instead shows what amounts to an error that says new appraisal system. Tap Kalki IV symbol while looking at the new in-game appraisal to get the exact IV combination and shows an OK button. Pokeball magnifying glass. This is the search string generator screen. Try saying that 5 times fast. Legacy moves and legendary moves are the only boxes/strings that I could actually think of as being useful. Possibly if you only scan Pokemon that you find useful, this could have a fringe benefit. The exit door. This closes the app completely. This also offers a checkbox to not be asked to verify if you wish to exit again. This is protection against accidentally pressing. I personally use this protection. The X. This is your cancel button. This makes Kalki IV button small again in case you accidentally pressed it or changed your mind. The graph button. This is for the details screen. This screen is where you can manipulate levels and moves to see what the stat values and more importantly Stardust costs and candy costs will be before you spend your valuable resources. The move screen can also be manipulated, but the majority of what you need to find out is written in plain English. Great information for anyone who doesn't have all of the counters memorized, aka most of us. The rewinding clock. History screen. Everything that you have told Kalki IV to remember and anything that it has seen in the most recent session are located here. This is a very important and complex-ish section of the application. Hashtag or #. This is the Kalkidex screen. Think of this as an advanced Pokedex at first, and your best tool as you become an advanced user. Scanning is a bit annoying, but it's not hard at all. Start with your max CP Pokemon and work your way down, roughly to 1000 CP. Depending on the amount of space you have, this might be a long task, this might not be a long task. This is something that once you've started, gets a lot easier. It takes a long time the first time you set it up, but after that, it's pretty easy to maintain. Now you have taught it, this is why. Time for it to help you by showing you the best you can bring based on what you have. The boss name will be entered at the top and will be flanked by its type or types. The minimize screen button is upper left and the close screen button is in the upper right. The types that this Pokemon is weak against are listed next, with double weaknesses showing up in a larger font. If clicked on this button, will instead show those that the Pokemon is strong against. These are the types you should avoid. Select moves. Ignore this for now. The boss tier will autofill and likely will not need to be manipulated. If it is needed for any reason, click the icon and a drop-down will show up. The shaking hands icon is for those who know what their highest friendship level will be with others in the raid. This is especially useful if you run with a friend on a regular basis, as best friends provide some great boosts to damage. The number that you select corresponds with how many full hearts you have with your highest level friend raiding alongside you. If you don't know if you will have a friend in a raid with you, simply leave this at 0. The final icon in this row is for selecting weather, if known. If you don't know what the weather is as you start, or you are setting up a team with this information, you would leave this as a question mark. Breakpoints. Ignore this for now. The next button can be cycled through either DPS, glass cannons, or DPS to the third power times TDO. DPS stands for damage per second. This is the best damage per second, filtering for those that will die so fast they will not be as effective, aka potentially being one shot as they come in. Glass cannons. These are your absolute best pure damage per second options, including those that will die rather fast, and maybe one shot as they come in. DPS to the third power times TDO. This is a mathematical calculation thought to be superior by some in determining the value of each Pokemon. This multiplies the value of DPS times 3 times the total damage over time. Battle Team, Rejoin Team, and Survivor Team are the options on the right-hand side that can be cycled through. Battle Team is what most of you will be looking for. This does all of the work for you and says, just go with this. The Rejoin Team. I haven't noticed much of a difference between this and the Battle Team. Ignore this option if you use Battle Team, in my opinion. Survivor Team. Low on resources? Just want to survive as long as possible? This is the team for you. How to use the team. Kalki IV automatically stores information about the team you have selected. Simply go into a raid and click to change the recommended team, or go to the Create a Team screen located by swiping right or clicking on the Teams option while on the Pokemon screen. Select the search icon at the top of the screen and paste the string that has been created for you. Click OK and then reopen the boss button. Minimize and you can place them in the correct order. If you don't care about the order, feel free to place them in any order that you choose. The team listed at the bottom will be the first one you see when in a raid, and the one above that second, and so on. If you entered this from the recommended screen, you can name and save the team if you have room. You only have so many team slots, so I recommend only saving a few teams per boss and only having 1 or 2 5-star bosses prepared for at a time. As your collection grows, you will need to update teams at times. If you watched all the way to the end, I really appreciate that. This is my first Pokemon Go video, and I guess the big boys say, like, comment, and subscribe. But in all seriousness, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the bottom, and I will do my best to go ahead and get back to you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.